abusuan like video ina share mo bi foforo na ono nso enya bi enhwe Reverend Intim Fodwo e di nsem bi atudwa a editie na edisa Ghana fo nyina ye di anotum bie na yetimi eka bi se be ya oman no ebetimi agina yie na ye nyina ye beka ya abra mampanyi John Mahama eye campaign se Ghana fo nto abama no maneme Ghana mampanyi ohyebo se oba anti LGBTQ plus bill obehwe ame asan esanse na Akufo-Addo de oye nipa bonini na oma yensan anti LGBTQ bill plus bill a chese no eda mrahye bedwam na obaye watese wabohu wada ebusua bill no eda so da ho a yehu de ekoso na no na Reverend Intim Fodwo edimse ono nso no eba mrahye bedwam mu sanwoso a oye one of the apabnia yese omu kasa otimu se emu edupa odinse bia tudwa efa kwan a NDC amonyoko no ene owura John Mahama afaso a omu sabotage se omu nwa ema bill no yentumi nsan no yenka se yaje atum nti Ghana yentimi enye sebisebi o sa agubone no okrum ha sei na nsem odi atudwa de edi se ogibre na otiebie yengibre ne yenkotie nsem a.
It's really appalling, it's really disappointing that a very dangerous introduction has been smuggled into our schools. The introduction of LGBTQ elements, the education of sexuality related to LGBTQ promotion, and it didn't find expression in no main teaching and learning material than teacher manual. You know, so this teacher manual in physical education and health, the elective one, is the guide, the teaching guide, is the pedagogical guide, is what tells the teacher how and what you must teach your learners and your students. It also provides the framework of fundamental definitions and concepts within the subject and what you have to teach them. And when we do this, we break them in various weeks. So every week there's what you have to teach them. And rather sadly, the physical education and health elective for senior high schools in my hand, when you turn to page 3, the week 1 schedule, NDC have managed to smuggle in LGBT elements and now telling teachers that, for instance, gender identity, which in our constitution, in our 1992 Republican Constitution, the 4th Republican Constitution, and our laws, fundamental laws, recognize the binary nature of gender, being male and female assigned at birth. Now, here the definition they are asking the teachers to teach them. It refers to a person's deeply felt internal experience of gender, which may or may not correspond with the sex assigned at birth. So right at the beginning, you are confusing these young ones between the ages of 13 to 19, most vulnerable group of people who oftentimes become the victims. The age group studies have indicated become victims of this LGBT madness and confusion. You are further confusing them and promoting to them and letting them understand, because these are things you would want them to write back at you.
When did this document come?
This was produced in 2025 by the Ministry of Education. 2025.
Under the minister,
under this current government, NDC government. And these were recently distributed to schools. And these teachers have received them. And Paul, week 1 is already gone. So these teachers have already taught these students these strange, bizarre concepts. They have also further told them that sexual rights, a whole lot of definitions, the sexual rights definitions, and they are telling them that you can do anything as you feel, and you will be protected. There's no discrimination. I mean, very bizarre. And we are asking them, where did they get this concept from? Because you cannot be teaching students something that is not approved in the curriculum. And you cannot be smuggling in foreign and alien, diabolic, vile, evil concepts and introduce them to our schools, print them with taxpayers' money, distribute them. One NACA under the Ministry of Education is the body mandated to ensure that strange and unapproved contents don't get into our schools.
And this is a product of NACA?
This is a product of NACA. This is a product of NACA. You can see the front page It's a NACA approved. And you see, the framework of approval, I have spent 4 years at the Ministry of Education as Deputy Minister. And we understand how this curriculum development and its implementation works. Any concept that has to be taught must first be developed into the curriculum. And when you develop the curriculum, you now have to produce teaching and learning material, teacher guide, teacher manual, and textbooks, supplementary books as well. And any material that must arise from the curriculum must be approved by NACA to ensure that it aligns with the framework provided within the curriculum. So if you come in to issue, we developed up to year 1 manual before we left office. So when NDC came into power, 2025, January, they started the development of the year 2 manual. And sometime around June, July last year, they were able to finish it, and then they printed it. The question is, which minister gave the approval? Who checked it? And which agency, which officer, the Director General of NACA, what job did he do in checking that all the textbooks and all the teacher manuals that have been printed and being authorized and distributed to schools meet the standards? So this is a deliberate attempt by government. Paul, LGBT agenda is not a low-level implementation. It's not a low-level agenda. It is a high-level agenda. And I am surprised that at a time when President Trump has even given a different dimension into how countries must even view LGBT matters, and even in his own country clamping down on the LGBT, he has further issued a foreign policy directive to all his envoys, all his ambassadors in various countries, that how they must even relate to other countries where they have been assigned, and that on basis where some countries even try to promote LGBT, it would provide basis for sanctions to be applied by the United States of America. So that should have been good news for President Mahama. This is a season where he should even be bold to preserve our conservative values. This is not the time that he should be introducing LGBT into our textbooks, into our schools. So the dangerous thing is that the parent who is sleeping because he knows that they've sent their wards to SHS, public schools, and they know even a private school textbook must be approved by NACA if it's a GS curriculum, and knows that, well, free SHS, NACA is there, Ministry of Education is there, they have the safeguards, they will ensure only approved content gets there, is sleeping, and their child is consuming this material. Teachers are being directed that this is the definitions that you must teach to promote LGBT, to promote transgender, to promote any absurd feelings that are not authorized by our constitution and recognized by our beliefs. And this dangerous introduction, as we speak, the president has not spoken about it. And recall that for the past 1 year, we introduced human sexual rights and family values bill again to Parliament. When it even passed the gazetting and found expression in the order paper, the next day there was an order from Jubilee House instructing the Speaker and the Majority Leader, Mahama Yariga, to remove it. Indeed, they removed it the next day.
Now say that again. The bill was announced.
The bill was listed on the order paper.
To start the process.
To start to be laid for first reading. And consequential referral to the committees to invite the sponsors for consideration. When it appeared, we couldn't take it that day. So we thought that perhaps we have many items on the order paper, and as the practice of the House is, the next day we will have the opportunity to take it. The next day we came, and it did not even find expression. It has been deleted. It had been Nicodemously deleted from the order paper. When we raised questions, they said Honorable Mahama Yariga, the Majority Leader, blamed it on Speaker. The Speaker said he knew nothing about the bill being advocated. Recall that for the past 1 year, we introduced human sexual rights and family values bill again to Parliament. When it even passed the gazetting and found expression in the order paper, the next day there was an order from Jubilee House instructing the Speaker and the Majority Leader, Mahama Yariga, to remove it. Indeed, they removed it the next day.
Now say that again. The bill was announced.
The bill was listed on the order paper.
To start the process.
To start to be laid for first reading. And consequential referral to the committees to invite the sponsors for consideration. When it appeared, we couldn't take it that day. So we thought that perhaps we have many items on the order paper, and as the practice of the House is, the next day we will have the opportunity to take it. The next day we came, and it did not even find expression. It has been deleted. It had been Nicodemously deleted from the order paper. When we raised questions, they said, Honorable Mahama Yarga, the majority leader, blamed it on Speaker. The Speaker said he knew nothing about the bill being advertised. So we had to wait for Speaker to come the following week to give his ruling. Speaker gave his ruling that there's nothing wrong with the bill and that it must come back. To date, anytime we had raised it on the floor of Parliament several times, every week on week, when we meet our business committee, when we meet to approve business statements, we raise it, they keep pushing it away. They are even afraid to list it on the order paper.
Has Sam George been also raising
They are, he has not raised anything. And Paul, what they intend to do is that until they exit IMF, they will not list it. They don't even want us to discuss the bill until they exit IMF.
What is that relationship between exiting IMF
because
at the middle of this year?
Because the indications they are giving is that even discussing these matters, because when the president made pronouncement that he was going to introduce his government-sponsored bill related to this matter to cure the mischiefs that stakeholders and overwhelming 93% of Ghanaians want to cure, the kind of the kind of reactions he got. Now, when was the last time you heard the president, state his commitment that he's going to state sponsor a bill like this? Now he zipped. He never mentioned it again. And even the one that was had been passed in Parliament but faced controversies and had been agreed upon by President Mahama that when he comes to power, when he was in opposition, that the first thing he will do is to sign it into bill. Now he comes to power and then he's even preventing it from being listed on the order paper. That is the deception of NDC. So you campaign on the propaganda and deception of the rhetorics that you are the party that opposes LGBT. Then you deceive Ghanaians to win their vote. And then when you win the vote, you put it into teacher manuals and distribute it to schools. Paul, this is in schools. So, see, you remember the CSE and all its controversies. This was something they started way back 2013. We have all the UNFPA implementation framework and timelines, and even the conference on sexual rights, promotion that they held. President Mahama was there, his wife. We have all the statement they made and the amount of money, the millions, about $71 million voted for. We have all that. But eventually, when even excesses of that pilot found expression at the early part of President Akufo-Addo's regime, the uproar, it wasn't teacher manual. It was just some conceptualized, idea in the framework. And the whole of Ghana was up in arms. There was never a time when, within the 8 years of President Mahama and the NPP, and President Akufo-Addo, thank you for correction, and within the period I was at Ministry of Education, that you would find any textbook, be it curriculum, be it textbook, be it teacher manual, or supplementary material approved by NACA, with this stamp by NACA, containing these sexual observances.
Wow.
So what we are demanding is that, see, if I had not intercepted this, they would have just taught. And only God knows how many textbooks and other subjects contain such very diabolical introductions. So we are demanding the immediate recall of all such teacher manuals and TLMs that have already gone to the schools. Like this is already in the schools. We are demanding that Ministry of Education and NACA must withdraw all those textbooks. And as they withdraw, they must also ensure that they review all the textbooks and the teacher manuals in line with the curriculum that we approved. Their statement states that, indeed, this is not in the curriculum, meaning they've strengthened our position that we left a healthy, wholesome curriculum. So just develop teacher manual out of it. You have come to smuggle in, LGBT. So they must recall it and review it properly in line with our values before they redistribute it. And they should not forget. And as I speak, I've noticed that on the digital platforms and the online content, they have started changing some of the issues we raised. But what we are saying is that these books are already there. So we need a statement, proper statement directing the recall and sending these directives to the heads of schools, sending it to Charles, sending it to Nagrat. Because we spoke to Nagrat, they are not even aware of any such,
in the
they don't even
manual.
know. It's hidden.
But they all have it. Nagrat has it.
Yes, but the way it is hidden, you might not know. If you don't have the orientation about these sexualities and the terminologies and what they stand for, you might just blindly be teaching something. Because these teachers, we trained these teachers when the curriculum was developed, and so they know the. So if all of a sudden they are presented with a teacher guide and these definitions come up, if you are not quick to check, you will blindly be teaching it without knowing. You fall into the trap, and that is what many unsuspecting teachers have fallen into the past week. They've taught it. So in addition to the redrawing and to review all these portions, what we also demanded is that they must issue a directive for all the teachers teaching physical education and health to unlearn, to go back to correct those diabolical and dangerous
provision of binary.
Absolutely, and stick with the definition that gender is male or female as assigned at birth. And that is what, and all the other related concepts that time will not permit and the definitions for us to run through, they must correct them as a matter of urgency. And the Committee on Education must send members to various sample schools to observe that unlearning process taking place, because it's very, very dangerous. Then again, we are asking the Minister for Education to answer some questions. When you look at the statement issued by NACA, it is bizarre. It is embarrassing. They don't even understand what they are talking about. They are trying to even downplay how integral teacher manual is in curriculum implementation. You can have the most fantastic and the finest curriculum, but if you don't have an effective teacher manual and training of the teachers to go with it, you will fail in your implementation.
The teacher manual is a conveyor belt. That conveys the information in the curricula to the students.
That is the heart of the
method
curriculum.
of doing it.
The method, that's what we call pedagogy. The way you must deliver the instructions, the fundamental concept, and how you must teach it. And so it is.
So this is actually more important than the curriculum. This is even
more important than you can have a fine curriculum. It is sitting there. How do you transmit the concepts within that framework to the classroom and deliver it in a way that the student will understand? That is what the teacher manual talks about. And so for them to even downplay the importance of teacher manual and to suggest in their statement that it is an optional teachers may or may not use, they should show us proof of a directive they sent to schools accompanying the distribution of the books that said that it was optional. You can ignore it.
Why are you putting it in? I don't understand. It's optional. That what?
And so there are no textbooks for this. So that's all they have in the schools.